Hey everybody, I keep getting requests for videos on just some stuff that I work on, and uh, I do kind of work on some pretty neat things, I guess. But taking a little video of this fine example of Toyota FJ55. It's a 1978 vintage. Came here, was almost complete. I didn't do the whole truck. It was almost complete, but it had been assembled to the point where it it still wasn't running. The guy hadn't drove it. He had bought it pretty much unfinished, um, but got it here and it had a coolant leak where it had been sitting. The guy had tried to put coolant in it, I guess, and leaked some coolant out and addressed that. And the wiring was in really bad shape. So it got a new wiring harness front to rear. If you ever get into wiring one of these, there's nothing really available off the shelf. There's a universal harness kit you can buy from one of the Land Cruiser shops, I think down in North Carolina. But it's essentially just an 8-circuit universal harness. And then you have to build there's a couple of sub harnesses you have to build for the wipers. You either have to build them or you can salvage them from the old original harness if they are still intact. But there's a wiper sub harness, and then there's like a blower motor sub harness. And then I think there's one for the hazard lights too. I can't remember. I did the wiring on this a while back. But super clean truck. Ended up having to change the instrument cluster from the original because it had some problems with a couple of the gauges didn't work. I don't think the oil pressure or the temp gauge worked at all. But doing the wiring, I got real lucky because there's a guy that lives not far from here that does FJ40 harnesses on I Hate Mud. I think it's Cooler Man FJ40. I got crazy lucky, and he saw a couple of 40s I had sitting outside, and just stopped by to chat. And I was in the middle of wiring this thing, and he sells like all kinds of cool connectors, like factory connectors that plug right in. One in particular for the instrument cluster that is it's obtainable, but it's just hard to get. But he had all that stuff, and I bought it off of him, and he just ran it down here and made it so much easier, so much simpler to get everything plugged in and wired up, and you didn't have to cut pigtails off of the factory harness. It turned out to be a really cool truck. I enjoyed working on it. It's getting ready to go home. The owner's going to drop off he's got a LS Swap 60 series that he's going to drop off for me to work on and take this one's place. So anyway, like I said, I keep getting people telling me to put stuff on YouTube, and well, here's my first shot. Thanks, guys.